Hey, how's your day going there so far, aside from having to talk to press?
Oh, it's fine. It's early morning. I've done my Pilates. I've done my weights. I've fed the cat. All's pretty good. I've had my muesli, and now I'm in your dining room or something.
Yeah, or something. But the bottom line is I appreciate you taking the time, and we are here to talk about Darby and Joan. From speaking with your co-star Greta, it sounds like you made it about a year ago, or you wrapped on it about a year ago.
We started about a year ago. Yeah, we started about a year ago. So you've been talking to Greta?
I had the pleasure, and the last thing she told me before we disconnected was that she hopes to work with you further. So obviously co-stars that are not feuding.
I hope so too. We do enjoy working together. We did a movie together about 3 or 4 years ago, and that was enjoyable. And I hope we work together because I'll tell you why. Because she's so bloody good. She's great to work with. You know, she's true. I mean, you've got to put up with all the dramas of family life and everything that she comes to tell you about on the set over and over and over. But if you just say shut up, then it's all right and get on with it.
Well, one of the things I asked her about was her prep for this role. And she mentioned, yeah, she spoke with a nurse or two, she took a course or two, but she wasn't too worried about that. In your case, playing a detective, what kind of prep was needed, or what kind of prep did you do?
I read the script.
Okay, well, I'm curious,
I didn't go to a gun club. I've been out with cops a number of times, to do with research and stuff like that. The world that they deal with is not a world that any of us want to deal with. It's a hard world. But basically, we're talking about a man, and, I have to play a man, and I don't find that too difficult. But it's a man that's carrying stuff, and we all carry stuff. We're all dealing with stuff. We've all got stuff praying around in our mind there that drives us fucking insane.
Sure.
So in that way, what he's carrying happens to be, whatever happened when he was a detective that's forced him off the film. But, you relate to that in your own way and whatever. Basically, the biggest thing he's worried about is that he's got a woman driver.
The first response that you gave me, where you said the script, like that was the main prep for you going back in your career, because you've been steadily working now for decades and decades. Were you ever method at any point in your career where you actually would shadow a person in that profession before taking the role?
I'm one of those people that always said any fucking method will work. What are your method? Yeah, any fucking method, as long as it works.
Where I'm going further with that is that some actors get so deep into the role that you can't call them by anything but their character name for the whole shoot. So you seem like the exact opposite of that.
Well, I just reckon that's bullshit. Okay. So, and I got 50 years experience that allows me to say that. They can say I'm full of bullshit too, which is fine. Actors call everyone bullshit. But look, you can't carry it. I mean, I've had babies growing up with me. I've got teenagers. How can I go home and be that character in the what's name? They want dad. That's who they're yelling at. That's who they're annoyed with. So I've got to answer as that. So yeah, I don't carry stuff home. I try to make it as real as possible on the day, and then I go home.
Wow. Were you always this easygoing before the kids, that part of your career where you knew the deal, you knew when to call BS on everything early on?
That's a good question, because I can give a very pretentious answer by going, oh yeah, and of course you don't know everything. Of course you don't. But I was lucky enough to be brought up by a single parent mother who faced life pretty straight up, and a person like that has to bloody know BS because they're dealing with the realities of life to try and feed their 2 kids on their own. So I guess I saw basics pretty early on.
Well, one of the most fascinating things about your career to me is not just the talent and not just the great work you've done, but how you've been able to have success in Australia, success in Europe, success here, different projects going at the same time. So I'm curious, as a person who reads a lot about the industry, is it that you have different agents and representation in Australia than the States, or just have great representation that handles you worldwide?
No, I do have good agents. You know, I have the same agent in LA in America that I've had from the day I walked in there after Breaker Morant, Fred Spector at CIA. But I think that my thing was that, like, you know, I like living in Australia, so that meant I have to, you know, there's certain choices I can't have, you know, out of sight, out of mind, and things like. But I also like, you know, I very much like telling stories about my country, about the type of people we are.
Mhm.
I can't do that offshore, so you know, I've tried to mix it up where I can, but you know, the long and short of it is, I'm still working,
Mhm.
arms and legs, and still go all right. You know, the head's going okay, having a bit of trouble with this guitar that I'm trying to learn how to play for the last couple of years, and I'm still as bad as I was on the first day. So basically life's, you know, life's pretty ordinary, like everyone else's.
As a music person with a guitar about 40 feet away from me right now, who or what inspired you to start playing guitar at this phase of your life?
I know. Yeah. I think, like, I think I sit on my balcony a lot, right? I've got a house in Sydney where I sit on, I look out at Sydney Harbour,
Mhm.
you know, and eventually I went, mate, if you're on a balcony, you're meant to play guitar. If you're going to sit here just staring, you're meant to be strumming a guitar. So I went, okay, it's time. So I went and got a guitar and got a teacher and started. And I practice every day, and you'd think I'd get better. But after 2.5 years, well, I know the chords, but I'm still lousy at getting to them.
Are you on to the bar chords yet?
Oh, is that little bar thing you put over it?
That's where you know how to do an F chord, where you do that one position, and then you can do that pretty much anywhere on the neck. That one position.
No, I'm not doing. No, I'm
Okay.
still in the first three. What do you call the things?
The first three frets. So you're doing the
Yes,
G,
I'm in the
the
first.
D, the C. Okay.
No, yeah, I know 13. I know 13 chords, right?
Mhm.
And I move between them pretty dreadfully.
Well, a lot of the interviews that I do are with musicians, and then a lot of the interviews I do are with actors and comedians who are trying to be musicians. So
Yeah.
David Duchovny goes, "I'm going to do a solo album." Well, hey, you're going to have to speak to me. Dennis Quaid does another album. You have to speak to
Oh,
me.
but Dennis, I remember being in a bar in Los Angeles, oh, bloody yonks ago. And I knew Dennis, and we were in the back of this bar, and Dennis got his guitar out and just played for about an hour. Dennis is great. You know, he is a musician. So,
Yes.
you know, yeah, people like that, I'm in awe of. It's very annoying for him to be as good as that and as good as an actor. It's really annoying.
Every now and then you have your Johnny Depp, who's such a good musician that you go, wow, why are you an actor? But in
Yeah.
your case, if you keep getting better, do you think we'll ever see a solo album? Because obviously there's deep thoughts and there's a creative voice. Why not?
Yeah, and the answer to that is no. But I do write. I just had a book published last year, and I'm in the middle of another book now. So I do other things. Yeah.
Cool. Well, down to the last two questions here, and then I'm going to let you roam free. And the first question is, Americans probably discovered you from the movie Cocktail, and the movie Cocktail lives on and on and on and on. And I love the band The Beach Boys, and probably the worst era of the Beach Boys' career is Kokomo. What happens when you hear Kokomo when you're in a bar or restaurant? Do you laugh? Do you enjoy it, or do you just tune it out?
Well, I really like the song because I loved how that song's played as it comes into as the plane comes into Jamaica, and so I think I remember Jamaica, which was a pretty nice, you know, place to go for a job. But you know, and it does bring back memories of Cocktail, and it brings back the fact that because of that movie, I got so many free drinks all over the world. It wasn't funny. And even yesterday, I was in a restaurant and run by some Italians, and a bloke went to me, Cocktail. And so, like, you know, you get a free coffee all the time or something like that. You just know you've influenced all these blokes that wanted to be barmen.
Wow, that is better than the answer I could have hoped for. The last thing I have for you before I let you go, obviously Darby and Joan is the best show on Acorn. We know that it's the greatest show. What's the second greatest series that we should be watching on that channel? Any idea?
Well, I didn't realize didn't know necessarily what Acorn, the shows they did, but then I realized like all those really great English shows that they have, you know, and I imagine they got Midsummer's Murders there. I don't know if they have Vera. I don't know if they have, but you know, all those English shows that they have. And I think this is the point. I think they've bloody had that all to themselves, the English, that sort of style of show.
Right.
America doesn't do them. You know, and it should.
We try, you know, Murder, She Wrote, you could say was an attempt at that.
Murder, She Wrote. But it's like, it's really like, and you know, and people are starting to wake up that the over 50s have got a quid in their pocket. You know, they're not necessarily wanting to watch what the 20-year-olds watch. And so, you know, Acorn seems to have been smart enough to go, okay, we'll grab all them. So you know, I'm sort of suddenly starting to realize all that. So it's and I didn't even realize that this show, we were actually aiming for that. Well, I suppose I did, but I think that the types of shows that Acorn does, I think Australia needs to get into more of them. And I think the Yanks need to get into more of them too, because there's a bloody big audience out there.
Agreed. Well, I do hope the second book from you comes out here in the States. And I do hope we do get a solo album from you in the near future, and that you get up to bar chords very soon. It's a big world on that guitar neck out there.
And I'll be being interviewed by you on my first album, won't I?
Yes, and we'll talk about Dennis Quaid the whole interview and not your album.
Fuck him. That's all I can say.
Thank you for your time, Brian. Continued
Thanks,
best
mate.
of luck. Thank you.
Paltrocast.